You have probably already come across plenty of videos reflecting on the life and legacy of Charlie Kirk. But Bishop Barron captures the essence most clearly in the clip you're about to see. Let's listen together, and then I will share some of my reflections that flow from it. Here we go.
We hope and pray that Charlie Kirk is in that better place now. You knew him well. He said that faith was the most important thing in his life. How did it shape his life and his worldview?
I think in almost every way, and I think it's beautiful when you watch him in these political debates. He would occasionally just lapse into those wonderful moments of real evangelical proclamation, and he always made it clear that that was the most important thing in his life. More important than his political convictions, more important than elections and so on, was his faith in Jesus Christ. And I love the fact that he was able to evangelize in that very unself-conscious way. You know, I think as all the great spiritual figures up and down the centuries have known, everything else in life is related to the spiritual. It's not like one thing among many. It's more like the center of a rose window, that every element in the window relates to what's in the middle.
Yeah.
And I think Charlie Kirk had a keen sense of that everything in his life came down to his Christian faith.
As Bishop Barron observes, although Charlie Kirk was widely recognized for his sharp critiques of the progressive agenda on issues such as abortion, homosexual marriage, and transgender ideology, as well as for his firm political stance on the economy, foreign policy, and crime, there was always something deeper that came through in the midst of those debates. Beyond the politics and cultural clashes, his underlying mission was to spread the gospel. In that sense, he stood as a powerful witness to the faith. In fact, in one of the many interviews, Charlie made it plain that he wanted to be remembered as a man of courage, especially courage for his faith. That desire is no small matter. It reflects a heroic aspiration deeply rooted in the cardinal virtue of fortitude. And so, with that in mind, let's continue listening to Bishop Barron.
Bishop, thank you very much for joining us and sharing how you knew Charlie. Please do leave us off today with how you want to remember him, how you believe Charlie wants all of us to remember him.
Well, I think first what I just said, as a man of faith, as a man who loved Jesus Christ. But secondly, I would say as a kind of apostle of civil discourse, how he embodied what he talked about theoretically. It's one thing to say, let's all talk and have civil discourse. The thing is, he did it. He dedicated his life to going right into the fray. I love the fact that up until literally his dying day, he was right in the middle of opposing forces, and he was inviting people who disagree with him to come forward. There he reminded me of the great medieval theologians who they'd come to the university and they'd say, ask me anything, and they would respond to whatever question there was. Well, that was his approach when it came to politics and culture. I think he's a model there of how we should do this going forward. He was an antidote to what is so prevalent in the culture now, which is shouting matches between opposing wills. See, he knew that the truth was more important than the will, that the will is ordered to the true. When you forget that, all you have left are warring wills, and let's see who's more powerful. At the end of the day, it becomes violence. Yeah. And it's one of the supreme ironies of his life that that's how he dies, in this violent way, even though he was a witness against that very thing.
It's a beautiful memory, beautiful thought. Bishop, thank you.
Thank you, Bishop. Appreciate it.
God bless you.
All right, we'll see you again. Wow.
That is indeed an amazing point, and it connects directly with something I've often observed on social media. Some Christian influencers argue that the way Charlie Kirk spread the gospel was not the way of Christ. They insist that because he debated, disagreed, and confronted people, he was somehow failing to follow Jesus' model of proclamation. But I could not help thinking to myself, have these people forgotten about St. Paul, arguably the greatest evangelist in the history of Christianity? Paul never shied away from boldly declaring Christ risen, whether to Gentiles, Greeks, Romans, or Jews. He tirelessly argued in the synagogue, in the marketplace, and on the Areopagus, in fact, anywhere he could find a hearing, because for him, the gospel was not meant to be whispered privately, but proclaimed and defended publicly. And it is not only St. Paul who gave us this example. St. Thomas Aquinas, one of the greatest minds in Catholic tradition, often gathered around him those who disagreed with him, Jewish rabbis, Muslim imams, and even those who denied the very existence of God. He engaged them in respectful reasoned conversation where each side could lay out their arguments challenged the other, and even if they did not come to an agreement, they at least parted with the dignity of truth-seeking intact. This shows us that dialogue and debate are not the enemies of the faith, but its natural companions. This is why the modern claim that one cannot argue about the faith is not only misguided, but profoundly anti-intellectual. The Catholic tradition has always taught that faith and reason are like two wings of the human spirit by which we rise to the contemplation of truth. To deny one of those wings is to cripple the flight entirely, leaving us grounded in sentimentality instead of soaring toward reality. And so I cannot understand how anyone could suggest that Christians should ignore their intellect and reduce faith to a vague feeling, when in fact faith is meant to stand in dialogue, in debate, and in rigorous pursuit of truth. Hopefully, Charlie Kirk's legacy will lay the foundation not just for Christians, but for people of all faiths to engage in respectful conversations about things we disagree on, rather than demonizing one another simply for holding a different view. As Charlie himself once said, it is only when we stop speaking with each other that we give way to violence. I hope Charlie Kirk's soul will rest in peace. I hope this video is helpful. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. God bless you.